I've been trying to make videos reflecting on all that we got in season 6, but the Dragon Prince has other plans because we're already being fed for season 7. So while I'm personally still reflecting on all that we got, I realized that I kind of have to go with the flow. So for today's video, we're going to talk about the first look images, and of course, I'll be organizing them in what I think is chronological order, just as I have done before because the mind likes what it likes. So before we even get to the images, we've actually gotten a short teaser trailer to announce the release date, and that involved Astrid and Cosmo. I've already covered that, but the one takeaway from that video is that I think this clip is actually our opening scene for season 7. And the reason why I think that is because that clip is happening at the same time that the spell Amor Stella Vitae is happening at the break of dawn. And that's where season 6 left off. And since this is presumably happening at the same time, this is where we're gonna pick up. Therefore, that's our opening scene. From there, our next image would be the one that we've gotten most recently, with Ezran flying atop a twin-tailed inferno tooth tiger with Aanya, accompanied by Soren and Corvus. So if you recall, we ended Ezran's plotline with him receiving a letter during the Sunfire wedding about the burning of Katolis. And, well, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, this is actually not our first image because Soren is here, but the point is, we will probably see Ezran, Anya, and Corvus leave Sadia to rush to Katolis. Our actual first image from the bunch must actually be Ezran, Callum, and Corvus looking at the destruction of the palace, and I do think Callum will arrive there alone because he has wings, and I imagine that after seeing the smoke coming from the castle at the moon nexus, he will immediately take flight and leave Rayla and Runnan to fill each other in, and maybe they'll catch up at their own pace. So this is them taking in that destruction, and I imagine Anya could be somewhere here, but she's not in frame yet. But this is where Ezran will hear a report from Soren or Apelli, who were there at the time of the attack, and perhaps they'll go see Sol Regum's corpse after this. I doubt they'll run into Claudia, Terry, and Aaravos so soon, so they'll probably be gone from the Valley of the Graves by the time that they arrive. But they could run into each other. That's certainly a possibility. I doubt it though. But after this, then we'll get this moment of Ezran and Anya flying with Soren joining in the background. Since the castle is destroyed, they'll simply go to one of the vacation homes, and the one that we know of is the Winter Lodge, so this could be them on their way there. And if this is the case, we have to pay attention to our loving King Ezran because this poor child is going through it. I pray and hope that Callum told him that he freed Runnan because it's gonna be so out of pocket if they just arrive at the Banter Lodge and Ezran just sees his father's assassin walking free without a warning. So this is me keeping my fingers crossed that Callum did his due diligence and kept the king informed. And this is where the hater in me comes out. I don't even know where to start, but in case you're new here, I am a self-proclaimed Rayllum hater, and I have not always been that, but it did become official after I watched season 6, although it technically kind of started during season 5, but I was still giving it the benefit of the doubt at the time. Anyway, the point is, love, when it does not make you better, it makes you fucking dumb. And that's exactly how I feel about Callum. And I'm personally offended about the fact that Callum did not attend Amaya's wedding because he was with Rayla. And I'm not even the type to say that you have to go to family events because they're family. I'm a found family type of girly, okay? Blood may be thicker than water, but I don't drink blood to survive. Anyway, there is clearly a loving relationship between Amaya and Callum and Ezran, so the fact that he did not show up is honestly very frustrating. So, one, not only is this his aunt's wedding, but two, this is actually a historic wedding. We can pretty much assume that human and elf relationships are actually not all that uncommon, but they are not displayed to this extent. Janai is a queen and she is marrying a human. You can say whatever you want about Kareem, but the man spoke nothing but facts when he said that their union is a symbolic union. Amaya is now a queen of Sunfire Elves as a human. And you're telling me that your girlfriend that lied to you, left while you were asleep, and didn't contact you for 2 years is more important than this wedding? I'm baffled, okay? And have I mentioned that Callum is the High Mage of Katolis? Like, okay, family, that's one thing. Maybe it could be forgiven. But this is actually a diplomatic event. Aanya is there for that reason, which, by the way, I totally guessed that that would be the case. But anyway, I can't believe that Callum didn't go to the wedding. And if he did not go to the wedding, then his job as High Mage is to hold the fort down in Katolis. And I know that I've said this before, but the timing of season 6 is all over the place. So it's hard to know when each thing is happening, but I'm inclined to assume that they spent a good chunk of time in the Star Scraper. And then it also hasn't been confirmed yet, but based on the moon phases, I think it's fair to assume that they spent almost a month at the moon nexus. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I love Runnan, so I'm glad that he's free, but Callum needs to get his priorities straight. Runnan has been in the coin for 2 years, okay? I doubt that another moon cycle would have meant that much to him. His aunt's wedding is a once in a lifetime, and it's also a historic event. Anyway, I'm cutting this tangent here. The point is, Callum's love is in fact to his detriment, and I hope that he tells Ezran not only because he deserves to know as king, but also because he's Harold's son. Okay, moving on to the third image, we have Runnan at what looks to be the Banter Lodge. So this is what's making me think that maybe Rayla agreed to catch up to Callum and Katolis, because from the moon nexus, which is at the Cursed Caldera, it'd be much easier for them to make their way east to go their own way to the Silver Grove. But since we see them at the Banter Lodge, they're clearly making their way to Katolis, and I think their eyes are looking to something above them. So this could be her reaction to spotting the twin-tailed Inferno Tooth Tigers. Since Aaron Ehasz has brought attention to the fact that Ezran has yet to find out about Runnan, I simply think that this could be the moment where they're all meeting together. But I think I've said all I can in regards to their meeting. Runnan looks great. I love him. I can't wait to see more of him, and I am desperately waiting for him to return Ithari's heart to him. Moving on to the fourth image, here we have Ezran and Aanya talking as Bay and Sim sit with them. I realize that this is becoming a ship. It's not that I don't see it. I do think it's cute and whatnot. But it's just that, like, my mind, like, I just can't, I don't see this working because they're both the king and queen of the respective kingdoms. Platonic relationships are cool too, you know? I don't hate this ship at all. Again, my mind just can't help but think of the implications. And I think a Glowing Hay may have chatted about this in one of his live streams. I'll look for the specific video and link it down below if you're interested. But something that he brought up is the fact that a union between these two would mean a union between their kingdoms. And that's exactly where my mind goes to too. And I know someone's gonna be like, that sounds like a good thing. They're both the strongholds by the breach, even though that's gone, and it would expand their lands. The kingdoms would be stronger together and whatnot. Bless your rose-colored eyes if you think that. I just don't think that way. The unification of two kingdoms is actually a political nightmare. I have no credentials, don't quote me on this, it's just my opinion. But like, Janai and Amaya's wedding is already a huge deal because they're elven and human respectively. But Amaya, even though she's a general, she would just be replaced. She presumably has no land to tend to. Like, she's leaving Katolis and her rank to now be a part of the Sunfire Kingdom and be immersed in that culture. Maybe Gren will stay with her as her best friend and interpreter, but that's it. A union between Ezran and Aanya would mean their two kingdoms becoming one. This would be a huge historic deal, and because the other kingdoms were slightly destabilized after Viren sent assassins, this sort of union would have implications for all human kingdoms. And yeah, I just don't see that happening, but I do get it. They're about the same age, similar struggles. They're both adorable. Naturally, they can be seen as a pair, but me personally, I only see this as like a platonic friendship right now. So yeah, let's just get back to analyzing this image and theorizing what could be happening. I think Aanya could be a strong guiding light for Ezran because while she may only be about a year older than him, she is more practiced in the art of ruling and political minutia. She has been queen since she was an infant, and we also hear that she has had to deal with people trying to usurp her throne, coups, conspiracies, and assassination attempts. Ezran is a literal child. And I know they're only a year apart, but what I mean is that while he is emotionally intelligent and mature for his age, he is immature as a king. Like, even if you think of the conversation that he had with Kareem, it's kind of foolish. Kareem had already challenged Janai to a blood duel. He stole the Sun Seed and then attempted to kill Janai. And Janai is also a fool for letting this happen in the first place. Kareem returned with an army. There is no more negotiating. When he was banished, he was clearly told that his return was punishable by death. Why are you sending an envoy? And then, y'all, I'm just ranting. I'm just ranting at this point, but I had to get my thoughts about season 6 out somehow, and we're already moving so quickly. So I'm just gonna let the thoughts flow. But something that was also really foolish of Ezran was entering Kareem's tent to begin with. That defeats the purpose of having a watcher. How is Aanya supposed to protect him if she can't see what's happening inside the tent and doesn't have a clear shot? My point is all to say that Ezran is incredibly naive. Of course, his good heart is why we root for him. I'm rooting for him. But sometimes we are required to harden our hearts and wrap it in armor just so that we can navigate life. And Ezran is a king. He must ensure the safety and prosperity of an entire kingdom. His brother has the head above the moon, and the only real support that he has right now are actually his animal companions, Sim, Bait, and Jellybug, his night guards, Soren and Corvus, Opeli as his advisor, and Barrius, who of course feeds his soul with jelly tarts. But that's his small council. So basically, all he has is his role as king. And that's actually so sad. I don't know. I really feel for Ezran because he's such a soft person, but he carries the weight of the kingdom during changing times, and I genuinely think that it's in his best interest to harden his heart. Okay, but let's bring it back to Aanya. Um, this is why I think that she could be his guiding light because she is someone who has been hardened by duty, but she clearly still has a tender heart of gold. So, yeah, I don't know. I just hope she gives him some good advice because I think he's holding on to Harrow's last words about choosing to make history a narrative of love, but Harrow is kind of a fool. It's honestly more complicated than that, but now he can't elaborate. But that's all I have to say on that at the moment. We should really move on. The last image that we have is of Rayla surrounded by the Moon Shadow Elves who died in the mission, and as a Moon Girly, I'm ready, okay? Show me the Silver Grove, show me more moon magic, show me Ithari, have him reunite with Runnan. I'm ready. But anyway, I'm actually really worried for season 7. I honestly don't know what to expect, but based on this image, we will have Rayla return to the Silver Grove, and perhaps this keeper is the one who will judge if she will be allowed back into the community. And I'm really curious as to what this ritual is. As you can see, they all seem to be in the same pose of them holding their lotus flowers, although their hands are empty. And if you look a little closer, you can see that these holograms are still bearing their silver bindings. And this is what I find interesting about this ceremony because in Through the Moon, the first time Rayla uses the moon nexus as a portal to the in-between is to search for her parents in Runnan, but she can't find them, which we know is because their souls were fragmented and they were still tethered to life. But what she does find is Viren, because he was actually dead at the time. But before that, she finds the assassins, or rather, they find her. Their spirits cannot rest because their mission was incomplete. And that's how hardcore Moonshadow Elves are. They clearly take their oaths to the grave and beyond. So they find her and they obviously try to kill her because she is in fact the reason the mission failed and why they lost their lives. But one of the assassins notices that her binding is gone, so they assume that she didn't actually end up dooming them. She finished the mission and their spirits can rest. Rayla tries to clarify that she in fact did not kill anybody and therefore did technically doom them. But at that point, they had actually already moved on. And I guess what they needed wasn't really the truth. So my point in telling you that backstory is that their spirits have already moved on. So what is this ceremony? I don't know, but I'm really curious to find out. Rayla is Rayla though, and the show is clearly portraying her as an innocent, faultless hero, so she'll probably get welcomed back. And my own thoughts on her portrayal aside, I do think that makes sense because in the supplementary material, we've met a few Moonshadow elves who have been ghosted as well. We first learned of Tilwan, or is it Tailwan? Girl, I don't know, but they also go by Feathershaw. But they were also ghosted. They're from the Hollywood though, not the Silver Grove, but they tried to reinstate themselves, and I'm actually not sure if they managed to get pardoned. But a lot of people probably don't know about them anyway because they're a character from the Tales of Sadia. Who you might have heard of though is probably Red Feather. I don't know if she's from the Silver Grove or the Hollywood, but and she clearly didn't regret her banishment and never looked back, so she's probably not getting unghosted anytime soon. But I think it makes sense for Rayla to be welcomed back. Um, anyway, I don't really have much to say on this other than I look forward to seeing how her return will play out. But that's all I have to say on these 5 images that have been released for season 7. It was really more than I thought since I ended up inserting some thoughts from season 6. Definitely let me know what you're taking away from these images in the wicked depths below. Do you have any theories based on them? If you enjoyed this video, hit the pretty like button, subscribe unless you want this eclipse season to put you through the ringer, and hit the bell if you want to be notified whenever the stars align. But until then, Tenebras post Lux.